Alright, I want to throw my hat in the speculation game. I'm taking my guess at what could be there and what I would like to see from Nintendo at E3 this year. Also, this video is to distract you from the fact that I took down the Battlefront EA review. I had to make a correction because annotations aren't a thing anymore, and I didn't want it to seem like I was giving out false information. Back to the speculation. I was originally lowering my expectations because 25 minutes for the Direct doesn't sound like it's going to have all that many great new games coming out of it. And then there was also the possibility that they could show us games that we already know about, like ARMS and Splatoon 2. But if they only briefly touch upon those games because they have their own special segments later on in the week, then we might actually get more announcements. So I might be able to raise my expectations just a little, but I'm still staying cautiously optimistic. But for right now, let's go over what they could possibly show. So what else could be there? Well, Mario Odyssey for one, which will most likely be the big focus. Maybe even a few details on the story, or who the hat is, I guess. Possibly Xenoblade 2, but probably just a trailer that still says 2017, and that's most likely just going to be for Japan. We'll get it much later than that. Then we have the leaked Mario & Rabbids game, and I'm sure they'll go over that a lot. I would like to believe that we'll see a number of third-party support being announced, but it could also be a montage of the third-party games we already know about. Take your pick on which one. Honestly, I hope they have a montage of 3DS games, so the focus is on the Switch. But what could they announce? There's so many options, and yet I still feel like there's possibly only 2 or 3 big announcements, not counting any kind of announcements on services for the Switch. So games, what could they be? Is it a Smash port? That's what I'm not sure yet. I'm going by what Source Gaming says. I'm fairly certain we'll see it, or get some information on what's going on, but I don't know if it'll be in the 25 minutes or not. Where else could it be? Remember Brawl? It was at E3, but not during the presentation. So if it's not in the 25 minutes, we'll have to wait even longer. Waiting, our natural enemy. Or worst case scenario, the rumor is false and no work on Smash has started. For those of you who want to believe that the rumor is false, try to keep this in mind. I too would love to see a brand new Smash entry. However, I want to cut the guys a break. I would be okay with them just porting the game over. That way they could have less time to develop everything from the ground up and give us more content in hopefully the form of more DLC in the future. This way, it's more of a break, and let's face it, there has to be a Smash game coming at some point for the Switch, even if Sakurai's there or not. So this way, it just feels like it's the best way to go, and with all the ports we've seen for the Switch so far, I don't think this one's too far off base. Before going any further, I can't really make a good speculation for Sony and Microsoft. The only things I would love to see from them are either an Ape Escape HD collection or Ape Escape 4, and something with an old rare property from Microsoft. That's all I want, and I know I won't get them, so let's move on. And while editing this, Microsoft had their conference, but I'm not going to go over it right now. I'm going to say that later on in the week when I go over all the other conferences together. Well, at least Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft anyway. But for now, I want to get to my wishes from what Nintendo's going to have at their conference, or their Direct. My first wish is the one that goes against the majority, but I need it to feel complete. Retro working on the final installment in their DKC Trilogy series. I know the demand for Metroid is ludicrously high, but that only makes me feel that Retro's take on the DKC series has been dangerously underrated because of the demand. I just want them to give DKC a third entry like they did with Metroid, then I'll be at peace for them to move on. Which is basically the first thing I expect. Show us what Retro has been working on. They've teased it on Twitter. We know that they had to be working on something, but what is it? Is it Metroid? Is it DKC? Is it the Diddy Kong Racing sequel that won't die? Is it a new IP? Is it another revival? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But it's no fun to leave things up in the air, so if I had to take a guess at anything, I'll say teaser for a new Metroid game, but it won't come out until 2019? That's pretty far. Alright, my next wish. To finally see Pikmin 4. Even though, hey, Pikmin could take a huge hit if a traditional Pikmin game comes out, I'd still like to believe we'll see it. What I expect, mum's the word on Pikmin 4. They won't say anything. They'll be as tight-lipped as ever. You'll get an announcement on a new Animal Crossing Switch before we hear anything about Pikmin 4. What I want, number 3. Going back to the alleged Smash port. The teaser with maybe a few new modes like Smash Run, and a new adventure-like mode, and of course, new characters. Maybe even a hint at future DLC for it, but not for another 6 months or so. Personally, I would love for one of the new characters to be a new third-party character, and Bomberman and Rayman just seem like the most likely candidates to me at the moment. What we'll get, 2 newcomers, one of them being the return of the Ice Climbers, and the other is most likely the Inklings. Being wrong here almost sounds pretty good, though still no word about DLC and maybe just like one new mode. And finally, what I want for Sakurai's other project. So let's say the porting process is so easy that he could take on another project with ease. I would love for that project to be the revival of the Custom Robo series. Porter guy, can I get a high five? This series has been dormant for too long, and it would be amazing to see Sakurai revive it. What we'll get is basically what Sourced Gaming said. It's a Kirby fighting game for the 3DS. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be fun, and that's all that matters. Basically, the way I see the Direct going is a few little skits, a focus on Mario Odyssey, the reveal of the Mario and Rabbids crossover, a new Xenoblade 2 trailer, a surprise announcement, probably a new Fire Emblem Warriors trailer, a trailer for the Zelda DLC, reminding us about the games that'll get their own spotlight later in the week, a 3DS showcase after the Direct, and finally ending with another surprise! Either Smash, or if it's saved for later, something else we weren't expecting altogether. That's the way I see it, and as a little update on your characters you want for Smash list, yeah, there's no way I can get that done before Tuesday, but at the least it'll be up to date if the game is announced. Though I might have to change that thumbnail. And with that, I'll see you guys later on in the week since I have to make a video about my thoughts on E3 this year, even if it's done in a time to play. Later, everyone!